Oh, hey, it's Emily, and welcome to the start of another vlog. This is a romance reading vlog, not necessarily centered on any specific type of romance. These are just some romances that I'm excited to get to. So excited, in fact, that I've already read one of them and read it very, very quickly. I feel like this is the start of all of the vlogs that I've been starting this month that will come out scattered throughout the next handful of weeks or months. But I have already read one of them, and that is The Bodyguard by Katherine Center. This was one I was so excited to get to after hearing so many wonderful things about this one from so many people who have similar romance tastes to myself. And I did, in fact, absolutely adore this one. And in this one, you're following Hannah and Jack, and Hannah is a bodyguard, and she lives in Texas, and so they don't tend to get famous clients. That's not typically who her agency works with in terms of like Hollywood famous or actors, that kind of thing. It tends to be more either just in general wealthy people who might need a little bit of protection for a specific reason, or they work with a lot of oil executives. Anyway, so that tends to be more the client base rather than famous actors, for example. But some famous actor, Jack Stapleton, who has actually just basically gone off the radar after a tragic event in his life. He basically just stopped acting, basically just left public life, and has been laying low-key ever since. But his mom is getting sick. She had a cancer diagnosis, and so he's actually going back home to help her through that and take her to appointments, just make sure that he can help her through that process. And there has been a bit of a stalker situation, and so his team really thinks it would be a good idea to hire some security for him, just to make sure that he's safe while that stalker situation is going on. Enter Hannah, and Jack doesn't want his sick mom, to actually know the full situation. He's saying, she's sick. I really don't want her to worry more than, I just want her to focus on getting better. I don't want her to worry about me or my safety. I don't really want her to know that I have a bodyguard or that I have this security team behind the scenes making sure that I'm safe. I want her to focus on her treatments and getting better. And so reluctantly, Hannah agrees to pretend to be his girlfriend for the sake of just making sure that his mom kind of isn't aware of that situation. And so they're going through the motions there, and Jack's mom actually invites Hannah to stay with them through Thanksgiving, just to get to know her, to hang out. And so basically at first it's supposed to be a situation where he's in town but not directly living at his mom's place, and so she can kind of go through a normal shift and just be there for him, but isn't really supposed to be interacting with too many people. But when his mom invites her, that's when he asks her to pretend to be his girlfriend, and it's a kind of live-in situation, and that kind of just ends up happening. And so that's really when he's asking her to pretend to be his girlfriend, and their dynamic is just so cute. It's so cute. And yeah, I really appreciated their communication, their learning to overcome assumptions about the other person. And he is busy trying to help his mom, so she's kind of seeing him go through that and just ends up starting to feel really comfortable around him, and they just start to share some more personal things. They get to know each other on a more personal level. And Hannah's also kind of going through some things because she actually had been in a relationship with a coworker, and that did not end well. In fact, it ends at the beginning of the book. And so she's kind of reeling from that and some other revelations surrounding that. And so, she and Jack are just starting to open up to each other, and it was just so cute. It was so much fun, and I just devoured this in about a day, and just had a fabulous time with it. Would highly recommend. So yeah, these are just gonna be, so I already read one for this one, obviously, but I'm not sure when the next one I'll read for this vlog is. This is just gonna be, as I said, some just romances in general that I'm super excited about. I am really excited to read The Charm Offensive, so that might be one that I read for this vlog. We'll see what happens, but this is gonna be highly anticipated romance reads. And yeah, hopefully it'll be a good time. But I'll check in when I read the next book, or start to read the next book for this vlog, and hopefully I can actually catch some thoughts as I'm reading it rather than just giving a quick clip after. But yeah, we'll check in later. So I've read a book for this vlog. I read romances super quickly, so sometimes it's hard to stop in the middle of one and film an update clip, but I have finished another one for this vlog, and that was Husband Material by Alexis Hall. So unlike some of the other ones that I think I'll be reading for this vlog or have read for this vlog, this is a second in a series. So the first one is Boyfriend Material, which I read, I believe, a couple of years ago and absolutely adored. And I didn't enjoy this one quite as much as the first one. So some context if you're wanting to continue on in this series and you're wanting to read this book and you're wanting to hear some perspectives on it, or kind of understand what you're getting into when you go into this book and you don't necessarily want to go in blind. This one definitely felt like it had much less of a plot than the first one did. So in the first one, you're following, a fake dating scheme, and a bunch of stuff is happening and going on. And it's not that there weren't things happening in the book, but there didn't seem to be an overarching plot that we're following. We're very much following Luke and Oliver going to different weddings, and things happen at these weddings and whatever. Those kinds of things do move a plot forward, I guess, but really it's just about Luke and Oliver attending different weddings for various people in their life, and figuring out what some things mean that they learn in the process of attending these weddings and talking to their friends about relationships, figuring out what that means for what they want out of their relationship. That very much was what this book was about, and trying to learn how to communicate what they want, trying to figure out what they want for their relationship is kind of a whole step in and of itself, and then trying to figure out how to communicate about that and figure out if the other person wants the same thing as well, or how they can kind of move forward with some new understandings that they're coming to about what they want moving forward out of their relationship. So, there's definitely much less of a plot. You do, at least I still really love the characters, so there still really was that to cling on to for me, was still just getting to spend more time with these characters, still just overall pretty funny, and the tone is still pretty similar to the first one. There's things to hold on to here, but I definitely ended up enjoying it less than the first one. But if you go in knowing what this one was about, and still want to spend some more time with these characters, but kind of with the understanding that it's a very different book from the first one, that I still think you can have a really good time with it. Anyway, just wanted to film a quick update on that one. It's pretty unfortunate, because I really did adore Boyfriend Material so much, but is what it is. But I'm very excited about some of the other ones that I'm hoping to read for this vlog, but I will check in when I've started another book for this vlog. And here to wrap up this vlog, so I have read one more highly anticipated romance book, and as has been the case with the other books in this, can I even call it a vlog? As has been the case, I read it very quickly within a 24-hour period. I actually read it on Valentine's Day because I wanted to read a romance on Valentine's Day and thought it would be fun. And that was the day I was commuting in, and so I got to listen to quite a bit of it, and finish it up the next morning. So it was a very quick process, didn't really get a chance to check in. It's just been a crazy week as well. But I did read The Lady's Guide to Celestial Mechanics by Olivia Waite, and this one was an absolute delight. So you're following our main character, Lucy. Her father has passed away. She had been helping him with his research. Astronomy research, and she had been helping him crunch the numbers and do some of his research for a handful of years, especially as his health had been in decline. He had been in touch with a bunch of other people in scientific society at the time. This is a historical romance, and so after he passes, our main character Lucy is contacted by someone named Catherine, who is the wife of someone that her father worked a lot with and communicated a lot with. And Catherine is asking, hey, we were going to ask your father to help translate this French text on celestial mechanics. We think it'll be a great help to English astronomers and astronomy research, but it hasn't been translated into English, and this is kind of a high priority text for translation. And do you know anyone from your father's contacts who would be able to undertake that translation, who knows French, who knows the science? And Lucy says, well, that would be me. And so she goes to the house of Catherine, who agrees to kind of take her in while she is working on this translation, and Catherine is trying to help her kind of be the mediator between herself and kind of scientific society in London at the time, which obviously was mostly, almost exclusively white men. And so she had been, since her husband was very involved, she knows a lot of the players. She had been someone who, there's another woman there who was someone crucial in taking notes, for example. So there's some other people involved, but the people who are actually members are all men. Women are not invited to be members of a scientific society. And so she's trying to kind of be Lucy's kind of champion, trying to convince this group that Lucy should be the person to undergo this translation. And she had already done some of the translation as kind of a, here's what I've done so far to show that she could do it. And of course she's shot down. But she continues working on this translation anyway, and feels that it's very important that she at least continue to work on it. And that's kind of where I'll leave that thread of plot elements. But essentially, she's kind of under Catherine's wing and patronage for the time that she's working on this translation, and they end up falling in love. And it's so cute. I really like their dynamic. They're really trying to work with what they have, but also realizing that they need to break the mold and kind of make some of those bold choices in order to really move the needle on, what women, what it's acceptable for women to do, right? And so this one was it was so much fun. I was so engaged the whole time. I really like our characters. I like the arc there. I like what happens with Lucy's scientific work and translations. I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to spoil anything. But I liked that whole storyline as well. It was fabulous. It was fabulous, and I really enjoyed it. And so another thing too that was really cool was this inspired me to look up whether there had been any women who were climate scientists back around this time period and were ignored. And it kind of inspired me to do research, and in fact there have been some. And so it's kind of inspired me to do that search and kind of dig around for information on these women who are climate scientists and making some of these important discoveries and connections before some of the men who get credit, or at least kind of widespread recognition for that work, sometime before they did. And so I would love to incorporate some of these women in something that I write in the future, but like this book was an inspiration for me, and something helped something click to make me start that search and say there have to be some women who have been overlooked here in this specific field that I'm passionate about. So that was pretty cool, and something that I will definitely, continue researching and hopefully be able to do something with at some point in the future in terms of writing. But yeah, anyway, that was the last one I read for this vlog. I think just keeping it at 3 is good for now. And these were all highly anticipated romances, a couple of them working very well for me, one of them slightly less so, but overall, I think a huge success and so much fun reading the books for this video. But thank you so much for watching. I'll be sure to link everything down below, including my Twitter and more information about how you can support the Black Lives Matter movement, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.